Okay, go ahead and put those aside and get your coral reef article out. Today we're going to go ahead and read the article again. I'm going to read it out loud to you. You guys had a chance to read it on Friday, so you're kind of familiar with it. We've talked about the vocabulary words. Today what I want you to do while I'm reading is listen for the gist of each section in the article that we're reading. Come on in. In your groups right now, while you're looking for your article, I want you to talk about what the gist means. What does it mean when I ask you for the gist of something? You're going to sit right over there, okay?
Like kind of the reason for it.
What is the gist?
The gist is like the main idea.
March 3rd, 2014. Happy birthday to Mr. Watson. There is no early release on Wednesday. Please stand for the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Yo juro alianza a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, de libertad y justicia para todos.
Una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, de libertad y justicia para todos. Happy birthday.
Okay, continue your conversations about what the gist is. What does it mean when I'm asking you to find the gist of something? You need something?
What it means. Yeah, like what's the point of it? Why? Something. How? Point of it.
Okay, Naomi, what did you guys talk about? Sam? You never talked. Oh dear, that's not good. Sam, what did you guys talk about?
We talked about how it was like the main idea.
The main idea. So if I'm asking you for the gist of the entire article, I want you to go back and tell me what the whole article means. Today what I want you to do is listen for the gist of each section. So each section has a different bold heading at the top. That's when I'm going to pause after I read those sections, and then you'll get a chance to write down a few words about what you think the gist is of that section. Does anybody have questions about what you're doing while I'm reading? Okay. Let's get started. Okay, corals. Corals are small, sedentary marine animals that occur in dense colonies in warm, shallow waters or oceans. Reef-building corals are scattered throughout the tropical, subtropical, western Atlantic, and Indo-Pacific oceans, generally between 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south latitudes. Coral reefs are formed by the skeleton remains of many generations of stony corals. Massive reef structures are built over thousands of years by tiny coral polyps, aided by minute algae that live in their tissues, calcifying algae, and other organisms that secrete calcium carbonate and adhesives. Reef-building corals are generally found at depths of less than 46 meters, where there is sunlight and clear water through which the sunlight penetrates better. Reef-building corals, along with the algae, require warm ocean temperatures, 20 to 28 degrees Celsius, and are therefore found along the eastern shores of major land masses where the water is warmer. These reefs are amongst the Earth's oldest living communities of plants and animals. They vary in shape, size, and color. In your groups right now, I want you to talk about the gist of this section.
Yeah, the formation of
How coral reefs are made.
Yeah.
Okay, Ozzy,
It's like saying what coral is.
what is a coral? Okay, did anybody else talk about something else? Jürgen, what did you guys talk about?
The formation of coral.
How they're formed. Okay, good. Sam?
Oh no,
You're stretching. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to give you a second to write down what Ozzy and Jürgen said and anything else you feel like was important from that section. How they're formed and where they are.
You grabbed two.
And what they are. Yeah, go ahead and write that down. That's good, Marcus. Allie? Yeah. I have an extra one right here. No, you're just writing it on your article. Just writing it on your article. Okay, coral ecosystem. So again, you're going to do the same thing. Listen for what the gist of this section is. Coral reefs are sometimes referred to as tropical rainforests of the deep, since they are one of the most diverse, productive, and beautiful marine ecosystems in the world. The extraordinary diversity of reefs makes them biologically important, and like rainforests, they have provided valuable scientific insights into the nature of underwater ecology. It is a diverse collection of species that interact with each other and the physical environment. The sun is the initial source of energy for this ecosystem. Coral reefs are considered to be one of the most sensitive ecosystems to any change. When they are environmentally stressed, they lose much of the algae that gives their color along with other pigments. When this happens, the corals appear white in color and are referred to as bleached. Excessive growth and accumulation of phytoplankton and seaweed would be detrimental to coral vitality and diversity, and low nutrient conditions are needed to prevent this. Diverse and abundant populations of grazing fish and invertebrates also keep the growth down. Okay, go ahead and talk in your groups about the gist of that section.
It's like the color. Yeah, the color and what they look like. How they look.
How they go away, what do you mean?
That like the sun is what they use for imagery.
Okay, go away and disappearing. Okay, where did you see that, Matthias?
And if they're stressed,
dying, okay.
Environmentally, they lose the color.
And what causes them to die?
So kind of like it's mostly about
to do
color.
with the sun?
Yeah. Or
Okay.
not really.
Okay, Sophie Vogel's on here. Emily.
It's about coral that when they get stressed, they lose their color.
They lose their color.
They refer to it as bleached.
Bleached, right, good, okay. And what else happens when they lose their color or they're bleached? Did you guys talk about that? What's happening in there? Jürgen?
It makes the coral have low nutrient conditions,
Right.
and kind of makes it stop growing.
Okay, good. All right, so when coral's stressed, it loses its color and it becomes bleached, and they have low nutrient levels. So go ahead and write some notes down in the margin of your article. Okay, the next section, I want you to do the same thing. We're still looking for the gist of this section, creatures found on coral reefs. The coral reef ecosystem is a diverse collection of species that interact with each other and the physical environment. The numerous species residing and depending on coral reefs represent a bank containing the genetic diversity necessary for adaptation to changes in the environment. Sponges have been an important part of the coral reef ecosystem. Sea anemones provide shelter to the fish and other creatures in the reefs. Fish play a vital role in the reef's food web, acting as both predators and prey. Bryozoans are microscopic invertebrates that form branching colonies over coral skeletons and reef debris, cementing the reef structure. The reef is also home to a variety of worms, shrimps, crabs, lobsters, starfish, sea cucumbers, and sea urchins. Octopus, squids, clams, scallops, marine snails, and also some species of sharks, skates, and rays live on or near the reef. Some sea turtles frequent reef areas. Green, loggerhead, and hawksbill sea turtles live in the warm waters of the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, go ahead and talk about the gist.
I think it's just talking about the life in the coral, how much life there is.
The animals that live there. Okay, did it talk about a food web?
Yeah, that the coral reefs give it food.
Give what food?
The animals.
The animals food. Okay, good. All right. Let's see here. Matthias, what did you talk about?
It talks about
what type of animals live in the reefs.
Okay, what type of animals live there? And what else did it talk about? Anybody else get anything else out of that, Sam?
The ecosystem of it?
The ecosystem. What's an ecosystem then? If we're looking at all the animals, what does that mean if you're talking about an ecosystem? Jürgen?
Like a forest is a type of ecosystem. So like it's kind of like a certain kind of landform under the water.
Yeah, it's like a kelp forest is what they sometimes refer to it as, underwater. It's the whole ecosystem underwater. And we also talked about over here a food web. Chris, what did we talk about?
That the coral reefs sometimes give the animals food.
Yeah, they provide food and nutrients for the animals. Go ahead and take some notes and then we'll read some more. Okay, the next section is about predators. So the predators, I want you to listen for the gist again. The crown of thorns, which is a starfish, is a well-known predator of coral. Large numbers of these starfish can devastate reefs, leaving behind only the calcium carbonate skeletons. Parrotfish use chisel-like teeth to nibble on hard corals and eat the algae within the coral. Eels are one of the reef's largest predators and feed on the small fish, octopus, shrimps, and crabs. That's a nice short section. Go ahead and talk about the gist of that.
What hurts the coral
Okay.
and gets rid of it.
Good.
How many predators there are
What are they eating? What are they predators of? Did it say?
Starfish eats the coral.
Good. Okay. Sky.
what harms the coral?
What? That's the gist of it. What harms the coral?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So there are predators that actually eat the coral, and they're talking about who those are, what kind of fish they are, what kind of animals they are. Go ahead and write a few notes, and then I'll start reading about the types of reefs. These next two sections are pretty short, so I'm going to combine types of reefs and the importance of corals and coral reefs together. So while I'm doing that, I want you to think about how you can combine your notes and the gist of each section to make sense. There are three types of reefs: the fringing reef, the barrier reef, and the atoll. Fringing reefs border the shorelines of continents and islands and tropical seas. Barrier reefs occur farther offshore. The Great Barrier Reef off northern Australia in the Indo-Pacific is the largest barrier reef in the world. This reef stretches more than 2,000 kilometers. Atolls are reefs that surround a central lagoon. The result is several low coral islands around a lagoon. Atolls commonly occur in the Indo-Pacific region. Importance of corals and coral reefs. Corals remove and recycle carbon dioxide. Excessive amounts of this gas contribute to global warming. Reefs shelter land from harsh ocean storms and floods by breaking the force of the waves, thereby allowing mangroves and seagrass to flourish. Reefs provide resources for fisheries. Reefs attract millions of tourists every year. The coral reef is an intricate ecosystem and contains a diverse collection of organisms. Without the reef, these organisms would die. Coral skeletons are being used as bone substitutes in reconstructive bone surgery. The coral reef provides a living laboratory for both students and scientists. Go ahead and talk in your groups about the gist of those two sections.
It's about
What's the difference?
the three types the importance of the coral and the coral and
What kind of reef it is?
What kind it is, and then what did it talk about down here? So we've got this part. They've got different reefs, but what about the importance? What could you add about that? Aiden? You're going to think for a minute? Okay. All right, so I've got some people up here who got the first part of it. We know there are different types of reefs. Did anybody have anything to add about the second part? Isaiah?
Oh, we talked about the different types of particles that are in the reef.
The different particles?
Yeah.
Where'd you find that?
Well, I didn't find it. Hallie found it.
Okay, there was like, there were like contains a diverse collections of organisms.
Mm-hmm. Want me to come back?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Jürgen, you want to add something?
Well, you kind of just said it's kind of the facts about coral.
Facts about coral.
It's
That's a
not
really good way to generalize
Because
it.
it's not really on one thing. It's
It's
kind of just.
kind of a list of information, isn't it? Okay, good. Did you find what you were looking for, Hallie?
We found carbon dioxide and gas contribute
Contribute to what?
to global warming.
To global warming, right? So if there's too much of those things in the coral reef system, it's going to affect our whole planet, isn't it? Okay. All right, good. I'll give you a minute to write down some notes, and then I'm going to start reading about the threats to coral reefs. Okay, major threats to coral reefs. Deforestation, construction, and other activities have led to silt or sand covering the corals, smothering them and preventing light from passing through. Mangroves and seagrass that normally act as filters for sediment are being rapidly destroyed. Prawn harvesters have destroyed large sea areas of corals to create artificial prawn farms. Fishing with explosives has reduced nearby coral to lifeless rubble. Overfishing makes this problem even worse because the fish that would normally eat the algae have been captured and killed. Commercial fishing fleets often use cyanide and other poisons to stun and capture valuable reef fish. This poisons not only the fish but the coral polyps and other creatures in the area as well. In the Philippines, less than 10% of the coral reefs remain healthy due to extensive fishing. Trash dumped into the water can also kill coral reef life. Fertilizers and sewage dumped into coastal waters encourage rapid algae growth, which chokes coral polyps and cuts off their supply of light and oxygen. This appears to be the case in some parts of the Great Barrier Reef. Careless boating, diving, and fishing and other recreational uses of coral reef areas can cause damage to coral reefs. Coral reefs are also threatened by global warming. There's been an unprecedented increase in the number of coral bleaching events during the past 2 decades, which have had some of the warmest years in history. When ocean temperatures get too high, coral lose the symbiotic algae inside them, causing them to turn white or bleach and eventually die. While coral reefs are sensitive to the environmental changes, they appear to be able to recover effectively from physical disturbance or temporary pollution events, provided the water quality is generally high. For example, the corals in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, for the most part recovered from severe overgrowth of algae after sewage inputs were diverted away from the bay. So talk in your groups about the gist of that section.
It's kind of like how corals being destroyed. A lot of
Threats.
yeah, threats and how it's being destroyed.
What humans do that kill coral?
Okay, Anthony.
It's talking about what harms the coral, like sewage and other stuff that I can't remember.
It's another list, like our last section, isn't it? And a good thing to do when you're trying to make a list of what's in the article, a good thing to do is also just to say, this is the area where I can find what's harming coral, or this is the area where I can find a list of things that live in the coral. So go ahead and write down the gist. Thank you, Anthony. And after you're done with that, I want you to get out your vocabulary grid that we worked on Friday. So I want you to add one more word to your list. We talked about the word devastate quite a lot when we were reading again today. And I want you in your groups right now to come up with a meaning for the word devastate using your article. If you go back into the article, you'll be able to come up with some kind of an idea of what devastate means.
someone died. Destruction, that's usually like
Of course. It's not going to work today. Did you find it? Did anybody find the word devastate in your article? Okay, Ava, where'd you find it? Share that with the class.
In the paragraph of the predators.
Okay, so look in your predators section.
The second line.
The second line. You want to read the sentence for us, Ava?
The crown of thorns is a starfish is a well-known predator of coral. Large numbers of these starfish can devastate reefs, leaving behind only the calcium carbonate skeletons.
Okay, good. It's a good example of the word devastate. Go ahead and talk in your groups about what devastate might mean, looking at that sentence.
Destroy. Yeah.
Levi, what did you guys talk about?
Like destroy it.
Destroy. I heard that over here too. Did anybody have another word that they came up with besides destroy? Sam?
disappointing.
Disappointing. Why do you think disappointing?
Well, because I've usually heard devastate as like I've been devastated, like I've been disappointed. That's how I usually heard.
Okay, good. All right, so instead of using the word destroy, the author chose to use that word devastate. And it might be because it's really disappointing. And it's more than destructive, it's sad. It gives it more of a meaning than just destruction. Kind of gives a feeling to it too. Good, excellent. So devastate, you could put destroy and a feeling of sadness too, or disappointment. After you're done writing those two columns down, talk about what the opposite might be. What might be an opposite word? Talk in your groups.
Proud or have you seen that one where it's just like
What is it? What?
Did you watch the Oscars yesterday?
What?
Oscars?
What did you guys think of for the opposite? Happiness. Okay. What else? What did you think? Fix. Okay.
My picture's gonna be.
Someone
Angel,
jumping up.
can you share what you talked about?
we said maybe like make happy or make someone proud or
Oh,
something.
proud or happy. Okay. So rather than destroying, you think that the word destroy would mean somebody's not proud? Okay. Why?
No, for disappointed.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm asking you why you think that devastate could mean that you're not proud.
Because like sometimes you could be like really sad
You could
about
be sad.
something
Mhm.
and are really angry about something.
Okay. And then you go and hurt something or somebody else. Okay. Nice. Okay. Anybody have another word that they chose to use for the opposite? What about this group over here? Chris?
Fixing?
Fixing. You're fixing something. Not destroying it, you're fixing it. Jurgen?
I had enjoyment.
Enjoyment. Okay, so enjoying to you means taking care of something. Okay. Dante?
Like build and proud.
Building and proud. Nice. Okay, good. Marcus? Happiness. That's another good one too. Great examples. And if you can think of one, I want you to add a picture. What could devastate look like?
Crying.
Yeah.
Crying.
I
Okay, you
think
could draw a face crying with tears. What does it mean to you, though? It may not mean that. It may mean somebody's breaking something that belongs to you.
What is that?
That one disappearing. There's a fish and there's no fish.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions now about the vocabulary words that we went over, and I want you to think in your groups about which word would fit better. So if you missed a day of school and I taught everybody a few tricks on how to pass the next science test, would that be devastating to your grade or detrimental to your grade?
Say it again.
Talk in your groups. I'll repeat it again. Say you missed a day of school.
Detrimental.
Wait a second, guys. Say you missed a day of school, and I taught everybody a couple secret tricks to pass the science test.
Yeah.
Would that be devastating to your grade or detrimental to your grade? Talk in your groups.
Detrimental. Detrimental, bad, hurt.
Okay, Allie, why did you choose detrimental?
Because it really would hurt my grade.
It would hurt your grades, so why not devastating?
Because it doesn't make your grade like your grade doesn't have feelings.
Okay, good.
Disappointment.
Your grade doesn't have feelings, okay. I might be devastated, but my grade might not. Okay, good. Anybody else talk about something different? Everybody choose detrimental? Okay. All right. So let's say somebody's giving a report on an ecosystem. Would they need to talk about the diversity or how the ecosystem is intricate in order to do a good job? Talk in your groups. Diversity or intricate? Which one do you think?
I think diversity. Because it's
Characteristics that are in the ocean.
Diversity. What is diversity? That's a good question. What is diversity?
Different.
I know it may not be on your list, but we talked about it.
Different.
Does anybody have a good definition for diversity? Diverse.
Different.
Matthias? Matthias, what did you say? What is diverse? Allie?
Different.
Different. Good. So would they need to talk about diversity, which means different, or the intricate parts of the ecosystem? Parveen, what did you guys talk about? Okay, so keep talking. Diversity or intricate? Which one would you choose?
complicated.
For what sentence?
What do you think? You think diversity? Why? You do? Okay, why? Different?
How many things are there, what the amount of things, and how it all works together.
Okay. Okay, good. Good discussion.
Yeah.
Ava, what did you guys talk about?
We talked about that it was that the person should talk about how diverse it is because there's a lot more information there and there's just more that you can say and there's a lot more animals and it would be a lot more interesting than how intricate it is because it's complicated. It's just like how complicated might confuse people. So it wouldn't be as interesting.
So the intricate part might confuse people, but you think it's better to go through the diverse way. Because then, Ava, would you be talking more about animals? Is that what you're thinking? Okay. All right. Anybody else choose intricate? Could you say that you need, Levi, did you guys talk about you choosing intricate?
Levi's here.
Yes, Levi's here.
I didn't notice. Well,
What do you think? What does intricate mean? Angel?
complicated.
Complicated, right? So Levi, what do you think?
Like, I actually would take my mind because, like, intricate would actually be more complicated and confusing.
Okay, so you agree with what Ava said?
Yeah.
I think you could probably argue both. Maybe. Marcus, Isaias, what did you two talk about?
We talked about, I talked about diversity because in an ecosystem project there's different parts, there's different information, so then you would have to collect the different information and then combine it with the same information.
Okay, so you think diversity would be a better way to focus your thoughts? Okay, Marcus,
I know one for intricate.
tell me.
Like if you're trying to get your point across for an ecosystem, it could be complicated.
It could be complicated. Is an ecosystem complicated? Yes. Is the coral reef ecosystem complicated? Yes, it is. So you could probably choose either one of those words for that one. Here's one more for you. Do you guys have diverted on here?
No.
No? Okay, so let's talk about pigments then. Is it important to think about pigments when you're talking about the coral reef ecosystem?
Yes.
Okay, talk in your groups about why it's important to think about pigments.
A lot of it is how the ocean is made.
Different colors are like really abstract.
Okay, Marina.
Yes, because there's different colors.
Different colors in the coral. And what do the colors tell us about the coral? Marina. That it's happy. Sure, that it's happy. Matthias, what else does it tell us? That it's healthy. Healthy and happy could mean the same thing. Jurgen?
It also means that it has colors and that it's healthy as well.
Yeah, pigments means color. And when the coral has color, it's not, what's that other word that they used in the reading? It's not, Hallie?
Bleach.
Bleached, right? And bleached, when the coral's bleached, it's not giving enough nutrients to the animals that live there. All right, good job. I want you to grab your papers with the questions on them. They should be in the center of your tables, or you should have already grabbed one.
What is this?
It's two pages each. Did you get one, Anthony? Yeah. Okay. You're going to need the article, and you're going to need your vocabulary words also for this exercise. We'll go ahead and get started with probably the first two questions today, and then we'll finish this up tomorrow. So I'm going to read the question out loud, and then you as your group is going to come up with an answer for the first question. And then we'll share as a class and come up with a way to write down this answer. So number one, in the first two paragraphs, the author describes how coral reefs are formed. Using the text to support your answer, describe how coral reefs are formed and where they are typically found, and what the conditions are like in a coral reef. So somebody repeat back to me what we're looking for. What do we need to find in this section? Isaiah?
How the coral reef is formed.
Okay, how it's formed. What else?
And where are they typically found and
Where
what
they're
the
found.
conditions?
And what?
And what are the conditions?
And what are the conditions? So you're looking for three things, right? You need to describe how the coral are formed, where they're found, and what the conditions are like in the coral reef. So with your groups, go ahead and find those three answers.
I know what the condition.
It's a 20 Celsius.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
already find it?
It's right here.
Coral reefs are found
The first answer is in the second paragraph. First sentence. Why?
Did you
Just say
find
why?
Coral reefs are formed by the skeleton remains of many generations of stony corals.
Good. Okay, so that's the first part. What else do we need?
Where they're found?
Generally between 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south.
Good. Where'd you find that? Good. Right in that top part. Okay, so there's one more section to find.
Conditions. How the
It's in the
conditions.
first two paragraphs, right up there. Yes, but this specifically says in the first two paragraphs. Okay. Did you find it yet? Zephyr?
The conditions.
Pretty much the right.
Okay, so someone direct us in the right place. Where should we be looking? Chris, what did you find?
For the first one, I found coral reefs are formed by the skeleton remains of many generations of stony corals.
Where is that?
In the second paragraph, first sentence.
First sentence in the second paragraph. And what Chris did, I noticed while he was reading and he found that answer, is he underlined it. It's a great idea. Or you could even put a star next to it. Bless you. What about the second part? Jurgen, did you find that?
Yeah. Well, there's like three parts to it. It's in the second paragraph. The third sentence.
Okay.
Reef building corals are generally found at depths of less than 46 meters.
Okay, good.
And then it talks about reef building corals along with algae require warm ocean temperatures from 20 to 28 Celsius.
Good. So we know the temperature of the water. We know the depth of the water. Ozzy, what else did you find when I was over at your group? In that
where
first
they are.
paragraph.
It says that reef-building corals are scattered throughout the tropical and subtropical, western Atlantic and Indo-Pacific Oceans, generally between 30 degrees north and 30 degrees southwest.
Good. Did we answer all three parts? What do you think? Thumbs up if we answered all three parts. Are we still looking for information? Thumbs up if we answered it. Thumbs down if we need more. I don't see a lot of thumbs. Are we? Thumbs up if we answered it. Thumbs down if we didn't. Okay. All right. So if you think we need more information, what do we need, Dante?
Maybe more details.
More details? Okay. What three things are we trying to answer?
How it's formed,
How
what
it's
are the
formed.
temperatures, and
The conditions.
and the conditions.
The conditions and where it is. Did we answer those three parts?
We didn't do the conditions.
I think you did, though, didn't you? You told me the temperature of the water, and you told me the depth, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I think we got everything. Yes, you're going to write that down. You guys doing okay? Okay, and then the conditions. Okay. So you might even want to start with that. Okay. Yeah, don't you think? Well, that's not the conditions. That's where it's going. Did you get that, Ozzy? Good. Did you get it, Aiden? Because that's right here between 30 degrees and okay, so I'm gonna change it. Okay, fist of 5, how many more minutes do you need to finish writing your answer? Okay, I'm gonna give you one more minute. You're good, can I see yours? Okay, good. Don't forget to tell them where they're written. Oh, okay. You can have just this part right there. Bless you. Okay, I'm gonna have you stop right there. What I want you to do right now is find somebody with the same color tennis shoes and share what you have written down. Go ahead and get up. Find somebody new. Oh, what's that? That one does bracelets. Put it on. Oh, wow.
Coral reefs are made of everything.
I like Western. You should get Origins. Origins is awesome. I just got it. You can play online. You can play as Batman, Robin, or Danny as Shoot Batman.
Okay, go ahead and head back to your desks, please. Jude, when everybody has a seat, I'd like to hear what you have written down.
In the article, it says coral reefs are formed by the skeleton remains of many generations of stony coral. The temperature of the water where coral reefs are found is supposed to be 20 to 28 degrees Celsius. And they are found in the tropical, western, Atlantic, and Indo-Pacific Oceans.
Oh, fabulous. Great. Did anybody want to share what else they have written down? Marcus?
Coral reefs are formed by the skeleton remains of many generations of stony corals. They are generally found at depths of less than 46 meters, between 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south. Coral requires warm ocean temperatures, 20 to 28 degrees Celsius.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Okay, this all needs to go back in your binder. We're going to pull it out again tomorrow. You need to pack up and get ready for your next classes for the morning.